Hello, Jim 12's here. It is the 31st of July 2023. I'm off the Great North Walk near Cherrybrook in my local woods. And today I want to ask a question. Are we being entertained to death? Now, the reason I raised that question is because it's the title of a book by Postman, a pretty old book actually, which I'm reading at the moment, where he looks at the different sorts of media. I think I'm being bitten. He looks at the different sorts of media over time. Originally, storytelling, the verbal, and think about how far those stories would have travelled. Then we had writing, and think how the messages in those books, how far they would have travelled. And think about radio, how that would have gone right around the world instantaneously. Think about TV and think about the internet. And I think, as Postman does, he thinks that these changes or these revolutions in media have had a profound and are having a profound effect on us, both individually and as a society. So I want to ask a question. How much of our lives comprise entertainment versus learning? I think if you think of an animal and they're being brought up, from the moment they're on four legs, most of them, they're learning. They really are spending an awful lot of time learning from their parents, most of them, how to survive and how to find food. What about our young people? How much of their lives are spent really learning as opposed to being entertained? My third point, I propose that screen time is an addiction for anybody, a potential addiction, and let's call it that. And to me, that means the phone, the tablet, the big screen in our homes. It's as if we can't do without it, or how easily could we do without it? Children and screen time. And I'm going to pause there. Thirdly, screen time addiction, be that from a phone, on public transport, in private, a tablet, the big screen in a cinema, the big screen in our homes. How much of those screen times are potentially addicting us? Think of any age, but particularly think of children and the way that screen time is used to control children. In other words, what we're doing is we're injecting them with entertainment so that they go to sleep. And when we want to take the screen off them, the reaction is monumental, and I would regard it as similar to cold turkey when somebody doesn't get their drugs. So somehow or other, and this is a massive area of concern for me, what is our society doing with our young people? And I don't mean just young children at home, I'm thinking of the children at school, who seem to now be dependent / addicted to screen time. Fourthly, I suggest that you and yours get out into nature more. Like me, I'm out in nature, but I haven't got my family with me, which I have considered a lot today. I wish they were here. My son frequently comes with me, but yeah, I think getting into nature is an excellent antidote to being entertained to death. Today is the 31st of July. It's a glorious day. It must be low 30s in the sun, low 20s in the shade, and compare that to 31st of January in the Northern Hemisphere. That's pretty different. So I'd far rather have a Southern Hemisphere, Australian, Sydney winter's day like this than a northern one. My exploits into the natural world have been interesting over the last couple of years since I retired. Today, for example, I met a very long, about 1.3 meters long, black snake, about 8 centimeters diameter. I haven't seen a snake probably in Australia for 25 years. I did notice that my heart rate got a little bit higher. I couldn't identify the snake, but perhaps my description may ring some bells, and I maybe try to find a photo and place it in the video for reference. Not my picture. I didn't have the temerity to get my camera out. So as I'm going around in the bush, I know the cockatoos very well now. We've made friends of a few at our house, and I may pop a picture in there of our friendly cockies. Sometimes they're friendly. We know kookaburras, and I've been entertained by kookaburras, this morning a fair bit, and occasionally lorikeets. Then fewer and far between around here, but they are here. Today there is no wind, so the only sounds I'm hearing are the distant chainsaw chopping down trees, the distant building of properties, and the occasional aircraft taking off from Sydney by the look of the direction. But I do recommend getting out into nature. Consider this. I think that cultivating, especially in our young people, an attitude of exploration is far better than entertainment. Can their lives be filled with exploration? Can their lives be filled with construction and things that are positive, as opposed to entertainment and consumption? I love the idea of developing problem solving in myself and anybody else for that matter. It's just, I believe it's human nature to solve problems and to be creative about our problem solving, and not expect that there's only one answer. Let's work out what's the best in your situation. And as I say, a society that is focused on problem solving and creativity is also a society that is productive, as opposed to a society that is focused on entertainment, being entertained, and therefore not being productive at all. Let me leave you with this thought. Are we, as the years go by, able to entertain ourselves? Can our children entertain themselves? Do they have enough freedom to explore and entertain themselves, or have we restricted their lives, controlled their lives so much that there's nothing much they can explore? I think it would be great if we could turn the clock in the other direction, turn the tide in the other direction, and somehow build a society between us that is not entertainment focused, because entertainment tends to send us to sleep. Actually, it slows us down enormously, and I'm sure it's not good for our digestion. It's certainly not good for our heart rate. And I've already talked about the addictive nature of it. So I really would love, I haven't had many comments on my videos, and I'm appealing, particularly for this one, because it is a real heartache for me to see that so many in society, particularly if they're young, are entertained, they're controlled by the entertainment. And then I haven't even gone anywhere near what's on the entertainment and who's producing that entertainment, and the psychological mind games that that's creating, especially with our very impressionable young. I think it's a tide, a tsunami, that we have to stand up against. So please send me any links, any suggestions, any movements, any creativity that we can pull together to stem the tide of entertainment addiction. And as Postman said, are we entertaining ourselves to death? Bye for now. The Great North Walk, and I'm travelling southwards by the creek. I thought I'd give you a bit of a thumbnail of what it's like down here. It's very cold compared to up on the top, but above all, I would say it's very, very peaceful. And I'll show you the creek in a second, I believe. Here we go. And in summer, that actually could be a decent spot for cooling off in the river.